Hello, welcome or welcome back. My name is Ari and today it's a book haul. So, a little bit change up from my book hauls from last year. I'm trying to keep the amount of books that I'm buying and not reading down. So like a physical TBR as low as possible. So if I'm buying books, like I don't mind still buying books, but my goal is to try to read the majority of the books that I buy in the month that I purchase them. And that includes things like book box books and stuff like that, because most of my physical TBR right now is just book box books that I've got and then never read. Because I didn't buy them for myself, so they always get like backburnered for stuff that I actually purchase for myself. Or pick out for myself, I guess is the better term to use for that. So, I'm going to be doing something like a fun game, I guess, in all of my hauls going forward. And this is kind of inspired by drinking by my shelves, like balancing the books thing, but it's not the same system that she uses. So, vaguely inspired, not exactly the same. So, let's start that. Over here, in this corner, right here, I am going to put the amount of books that I have read in January, which is the haul month that I'm doing. And in January, I read 43 books. So that number is now right here. Yes, I know that's an absurd amount of books to read, but that just means I can haul a lot. On this side, in this corner, I will be counting the books that I've hauled. So this number over here of books that I have read can go up if I haul a book that I have read previously. Let's say that I purchased a book because I like borrowed it from my library and I ended up really loving it, or I wanted a special edition copy or something like that. In those cases, like, this number is going to increase. So this isn't necessarily a static number, this is just the starting point. And then, so hopefully I haul under 43 books. Like, that's the goal here. I am going to put a small handful of books in this haul that were from December that I just never managed to talk about in December. I'm going to count them as not necessarily books that I've read. So they'll count against the books that I read in January, just because I read such an absurd amount of January. I think it can handle it. But we'll find out. I don't actually have a punishment for myself if I haul more books than I've read. So if you guys have an idea of like how I can punish myself if I go over the red number, throw them down in the comments. I don't even know if I want to do a punishment or just be like, wow, I'm a shit person. But if you've got any good ideas, like book buying bans, that's never gonna work. I buy too many books that I'm specifically reading that month for a video. But maybe like something, I don't know. I can't think of anything. That's what you're here for. The first thing I'm starting out with is not going to count as a book. It is a book, but it's not a book. You'll see in a second. For Christmas, my brother got me the most awesomest book decoration, and it's my name folded in pages. Like, how cool is that? Is that not the coolest thing you've ever seen? I just kind of wanted to show it off, but it's not gonna count for this video because it's not, like, I'm not gonna read this. Alright, the first section of actual books are going to be books from December. And the first one is The Saddest Girl in the World by Kathy Glass. This I got from my Imgur Secret Santa, or Imgur? I don't know how to pronounce that. I've never actually said it out loud. Anyway, this is from my Secret Santa. This is not something that actually appeals to me. I don't like reading about child abuse at all, so not super excited about this. So this is not something I've read, probably not something I'm going to get to really anytime soon. The next two books were my December Book of the Month Club books, and I got The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins as like my book of the month pick, and then I got The Secret History by Donna Tartt as my birthday gift, because my birthday's in December and you get a free book, so I picked this one because I kind of want to read it. I have not read either one of these books, so these are going in the hauled but not read, but not adding anything to the read counter. This next book is a book that I have read. I did read this last year, I believe in November. I really enjoyed it, and I wanted the special edition of it. I think this is Owlcrate Fairy Loot something. I think it's an Owlcrate special edition, and I just specifically ordered the book itself because it's gorgeous. And this is A Deadly Education by Noam Munovic. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. So that is going to add one counter to the red plus hauled. And then this book my sister got me for Christmas, and this is the leather-bound edition of Elantris by Brandon Sanderson, which is my favorite book of all time. This is, I mean, it's a soft leather cover, it's super gorgeous sprayed edges, like there's some amazing artwork in the front of the book here that's just to die for. Like, this is amazing, and it makes me unbearably happy. The other books that I got for December are my librofm audiobooks that I got as an influencer for free. If you are interested in signing up for librofm, which is a replacement for Amazon, except for it supports small businesses, small bookstores, instead of, you know, Amazon, it's the exact same format, exact same price. My referral link is always down in the description below, and if you use that referral link to sign up, you get a free audiobook and I get a free audiobook. So, free books for everybody. The 3 books that I got in December, none of which I have read, are Sasha Masha by Agnes Berinsky, The Mermaid of Jeju by Sumi Han. The next group that we're going through is the books that I bought for myself in January, and there's a lot of books on this list. Alright, just to get this big ass stack out of the way, I bought the whole Throne of Glass series, except for Throne of Glass, which I already own, and I read the first 4, but 3 of the 4 that I purchased this month, I read them this month, so they're already part of that grand total. It won't be added to that, but I bought I bought 7 of them and only read 3 of the 7 that I purchased. The next stack I'm going to talk about is this stack, and I found on a used bookstore these special edition copies of The Name of the Wind and A Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. They don't have dust jackets, they just have the really pretty, shiny, gorgeous covers, hardback. And in the same vein, I've got Red Seas Under Red Skies and The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. I already owned a book, or this kind of format of book, of The Lies of Locke Lamora, which is the first book in this series. So these are all really pretty. I've read all 4 of these books months previous, like years previous pretty much. So I will add them to the red counter because while I didn't read them in January, I have read all 4 of those books. Next up, I purchased Kingdom of Flesh and Fire by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I did read this month. It was the second book in the Blood of Ash series, which I read the first book in November, really enjoyed it and wanted to continue the series. The 3rd book does come out later this year. I also purchased a box set of Becky Chambers novels. I had previously already read A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet, and I own a physical copy of this already. It was just cheaper to get these 3 books in the box set, and then basically this was free plus some, so I got the whole box set. So this one's going to add to the red stack. Then I read A Closed and Common Orbit and Record of a Spaceborne Few this month. All of Becky Chambers' books are fantastic. I highly recommend. I did not get To Be Taught If Fortunate, which is a very short novella, but I've heard this is great, and I'm saving it for a rainy day. I'm saving this book for when I have just read a really, really awful book and I'm burnt out and I need something happy. Next up, I purchased The Caged Queen by Kristen Cicerelli. I did end up reading this month. It is the second book in the Namsara trilogy, I think, and it was awful. Next, I picked up Girls with Razor Hearts by Suzanne Young. This is the second book in the Girls with Sharp Sticks trilogy. The third book comes out later this year. I purchased this entirely expecting to read it this month, and then I read a different series by Suzanne Young that I hated so much that I just couldn't bring myself to actually read this one. The next two books on my list were favorites of 2020 that I had read as digital copies and I wanted physical copies of, and that is The Light Brigade by Cameron Hurley and The Only Plane in the Sky, An Oral History of 9/11 by Garrett Graff. These are both 5-star reads for me, and like I said, I just wanted physical copies of them, so I have read both of those, but not in January. I read them last year at various points in the year. And then the last of the books that I purposely bought for myself is Heartstopper Volume 3 by Alice Oseman. This is a graphic novel. It's Volume 3 in this graphic novel, obviously. It's about two queer boys and their relationship. These are, to me, very mediocre, but they keep winning Goodreads Choice every year, so I keep reading them. And then I bought all the previous ones, so I kind of like have to buy the new ones. But this is something that I did read in January. This final stack is the book box books I got this month. And this shows that I might have a problem with book boxes. Just maybe. The first one is The Ruthless Lady's Guide to Wizardry by C.M. Wagner. This came in my Unplugged book box this month. I read this as an ARC in December, so I get to add it to my read because I've read it in a previous month. I didn't actually expect to get this book when I already had an ARC of it, but there you go. This was extremely mediocre and long-winded, so I don't exactly recommend it to anybody. Next up is The Widow of Rose House by Diana Biller. I got this in my Piece and Pages box, and I really liked it. I didn't expect to like it at all, but this was a 5-star read. This was like a mix of historical romance and like ghost horror, so not something I planned to ever, like, those were not words that I'd ever planned to come out of my mouth at any time in my life, but I enjoyed it in execution. And I would have never picked this up on my own. The next book is from my Brilliant Books monthly subscription, and that's a subscription from a independently owned bookstore that I have like a 6-month subscription box to. I do plan to do a video about that coming up soon, and like my feelings on if that's worth it, or if the subscription is worth it. Hint, it's not. But this was the book that they sent me this month, and it was weird in a bad way. Like, if you like really weird things, really weird sci-fi, like people turning themselves into infants and stuff with like all of this like what is the meaning of life background thing, then you might like this. I just thought it was too weird and I didn't like it, but the cover's gorgeous. I love the cover. Next, From the Feminist Book Club, I read Difficult Women by Roxane Gay. I don't know if I said it, but I have read all of the book box books so far. I read this one as well. This is Difficult Women by Roxane Gay. It's a short story collection, and it was a really good short story collection. So if you like short stories, especially like feminist short stories, I highly recommend it. Even though this has like every trigger warning in existence. So maybe check trigger warnings if you need trigger warnings before you read this on my recommendation. Next, from my Coffee and the Classics is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I have read this, but not this month, so we're adding the count down over here. I don't actually expect to read any of my Coffee and the Classic books the month that I got them. I just so happen to have already read this, so yay for me. Next up, from Introvert's Retreat, this is The Widows by Jess Montgomery. I DNF'd this 2 chapters in because I hate the writing style with like a burning passion. So we're counting it as something that I've read, even though it definitely was a DNF. I don't know if I can recommend it or not recommend it to you because I literally DNF'd it extremely early on before I got any plot just because I couldn't stand the writing style. Next, from Book of the Month, I actually have 2 from Book of the Month. First, this is my January pick for Book of the Month. It's called Outlawed by Anna North. This was extremely mediocre, but it was short, and I did read that. Then the other one I got, Book of the Month, if you've been with them for a year or more, they will give you the Book of the Year or one of the nominations for Book of the Year for free. And I actually chose the Book of the Year, which is The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I could have read it in January, but I decided that I wanted to save this for Black History Month, so I will be reading this in February, but for right now it's going on hauled but not read. For these last 2 books, I might have started another BookBop subscription that I've never talked about on my channel before, and that is my SciFiClub.com. They send you 2 science fiction books a month, and I did not read either one of these books because I literally got both of them on January 30th, and they're chunkers. So I didn't have time to read them. I don't think I'm going to read them into February. I kind of want to see if that box will continue to like show up at the very end of the month. And then I can just plan to like push them into the next month as reads, but for February, I'm just not going to read them because I can't really fit these into my TBR considering how big they are. So the first one is 10 Years of Tor.com Short Fiction, which is World Seen in Passing. I guess it's called World Seen in Passing 10 Years of Tor.com Short Fiction, which is edited by Irene Gallo? I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but this is a, short fiction collection from Tor.com, and Tor.com puts together some amazing short fiction. And this is from 2008 to 2018. This was published in 2018. It's an older book. And then the other one I got is called Children of Earth and Sky by Guy Gavriel Kay. I have never heard of this author, and I've never heard of this book. So if you've read this or read anything by this author, let me know what you think of him in the comments. I'm interested. Tentatively interested. And the very last section are my ebook choices for my librofm influencer choices for January. I only chose 2 books because I never get through audiobooks. I read maybe 1 audiobook every other month. I just don't do anything that really requires me to read audiobooks, so I'm trying to cut back on which ones I choose because I've just got such a big backlog. But I did grab 2 of them. I grabbed Broken in the Best Way by Jenny Lawson and How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House by Sherry Jones. Both of these sounded very interesting to me, and so I grabbed them. So this is my big ass haul from January, and I still think I read more books than I hauled. I'm hoping to cut down on February. I've already bought 2, but I'm gonna try to read both of them. Wish me luck on not being such a book hog for the rest of this year. Let me know what you think about any of these books, if you've read them, if you like them, anything like that. Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!